Oh, it's very wet and very, very rainy, and there's nobody here. But I thought, let's go for a lap while we can. So let's go enjoy a very wet and very rainy Nürburgring Nordschleife on a Thursday night. Woo. Okie dokie. Welcome to the Nürburgring Nordschleife. I am driving a wonderful Renfering Suzuki Swift. I would say it's wonderful because I did the setup myself. I have not changed any setups from the dry setup. This is a completely legit vanilla car. So to put you in the picture, if you don't know what a Swift is, because it's not for sale everywhere, this is a 180 horsepower, 950 kilo front wheel drive track prepped car. And the good thing about this car is that the stability control is very nice and very cooperative. It's not an uncooperative stability control. The ABS is very good, latest Bosch systems in this car, and it's very light, so you get away with a multitude of sins. Now, tonight, the Nürburgring Nordschleife is, as you can see, incredibly wet. And that, as far as I'm concerned, is great news, because there is nobody on the track. It's the last bit of tourist fart before a massive racing weekend, and there's hardly anybody here. So wet weather is great for doing laps, and the doctor prescribes you do as many laps as you can in the wet. You don't need to go super fast, you don't need to take chances. What you do is you just come out here and explore the track and explore the surfaces and explore how it differs from the racing line to the offline. Case in point, here at Hohenrain, I'm going to use extra tarmac provided to me by the gods of the Nürburgring, and I'm going to use that to square my entry. In the middle, look at that, there's nothing. That's because in the middle of the corner, where the GT3 cars roam, they polish the surface. Can you see it? There's nothing there, look. So you think to yourself, well, if there's really so little grip, then what's the point in going out there? Well, here's where it gets interesting. T13 left, look at this. Oh, we're going around the outside and I'm full throttle with 300 Newton meters. Interesting. That's because of the wet line. The wet line is utilising the tarmac that has not been damaged by the racing cars. So we're on the full left here at the Bogan, full gas on the exit, no dramas. Braking zone, pitted, rough, polished, late apex left, no apex right. Let the car go all the way up to this red and white stuff, don't touch it, it gets expensive. Late turn in left, late turn in right. Feel this rhythm? It's a lot of late turn-ins, late apexes, late turn in. No apex there, just let the car miss it by about that much. Hock icon, no apex, look for the exit. Let the car go out early, let it go all the way out to the right here. You'll find more grip. Quiddelbacher bridge. I'm sticking in the middle, there's standing water right, there can often be standing water left. Now I'm going to the left hand side, we're going to go over the Quiddelbacher Hohe, and we're going to enter the Flugplatz, which is the double right. Notice, no brakes, a little bit of lift, no apex, no apex. Good. Now we're coming over to the right hand side, and this is all one angle. Look at this. We're going to be at full right hand side at the 82, and we're going to be at full left at the bottom. Barely steering at all. Barely steering. Diagonal left to right over the top means it's straight. Late turn in for Schwedenkreuz. In the dry, of course, you are aiming for the left hand side for a textbook perfect racing line. In the wet, don't worry. You can brake later and harder on the right, come out to the left hand side, and now listen to this. Did you hear the squeal? So the squeal, I egged it up a little bit, but still, the left hand side you can see is coarse, like sandpaper. This is the stuff that you don't know unless you have 1,000 laps to play around and go explore the Nordschleife. Coming out to the right hand side at the bottom of the foxhole, I've left nearly a full car width there on the left. Again, I did not touch those curbs. Now we are on ultra high performance street tyres, which is very, very different to being on racing wets. The racing wets will cover up a lot of these differences in surface because the racing wets are so tacky, they form over whatever undulations and texture you have in the tarmac. The racing wets will still stick to it, whereas the street tyres don't. The street tyres in the wet, for your street cars, they hate the smooth patches, okay? They love the sandpaper roughness of these barely used sections. So what I'm doing here today is very exaggerated compared to what you can do in a race car. But fans of David Pittard will have seen, I'm sure, his round the outside overtake at Schwedenkreuz. And it just goes to show that even when you're on racing wets, you can find a little bit extra grip if you go offline in the wet. Late turn in, late apex. Again, notice not actually hitting that apex. Early shift to fourth. At the end of the fence, I'm going to turn in. I'm still going to hit this apex because it's not about the traction here, it's about the shortness of the line. Now, miss, hit, miss becomes miss, miss, miss. Very easy to remember, miss, miss, miss. Braking nice and early for Wehrseifen. Coming to the right-hand side, using the less used tarmac on the right to get the car turned. And now that means that on my exit, it's a little bit flatter and I don't have to mix the steering and the throttle. So I'm going to be slowing down here because it's Breitscheid Bridge, and in tourist driving that means the entrance and exit can be being used by safety crews. So I'm just cruising, not getting too close to the MX-5. Mixing signals, what do I mean by that? What I mean is, the more you turn the wheel, the less you can use the throttle. In a front wheel drive car, that's because you get power understeer. In the rear wheel drive car, it's because you spin and go off backwards, and that's, you know, that's not great for anybody, is it? Okay, let's go again. Lauder links coming up now. So lauder links, I'm not particularly bothered about using the left-hand side. With the racing wets, you certainly can. But with the street tyres or the semi-slicks, anything road legal, you're again looking for that sandpaper roughness that comes with the unused sections. Let me just get this straight and then I'll go full throttle, put my indicator on. I will overtake when everything is ready and not a moment before. Okay, my least favourite corner on the entire Nürburgring Nordschleife in the wet. The fourth left of Kesselchen, the third left, whatever you want to call it, the apex is lava, do not touch. Let the car go to the right and aim for the rumble strip on the right hand side. If you touch the left, not only is the surface worse in the wet, but also there is a big bump, and the bump puts people off, it makes the car buck, and if they lift off the gas at the wrong moment, whoosh, there's mistakes there to be made. Okie dokie, into the Mutzkurve. Mutzkurve of course means courage corner. Some people call it Angstkurve, that's a very negative approach. I'm indicating left because he indicated right. If it was a perfect wet line, I would turn in very late there and I wouldn't hit the apex, that's simple. Now I'm using all of the tarmac from the full right to the full left. Coming back to the full right, notice sandpaper here, polished here. Turn in a little bit later, square it off, don't go for the apex. Lots of people ask me in the wet, is there any advantage to going around the outside of the carousel in the wet? In my opinion, absolutely none. The concrete is slippy and it is bumpy, but you're also getting 17 degrees camber that you didn't have before, so take those cambers. Take all the cambers. It's the same as Daytona. If somebody told you that the bottom of Daytona is grippier than the top, I mean the flat bottom, you still wouldn't take it, would you? Regardless of the weather. Okay, so we're using all the track here. This is all nice new tarmac, it's not too bad. The little crest there can lift the car up. Hohe Acht is all brand new, but still I love to take this middling line in the wet. Coming all the way to the right at Hedwigshohe, now all the way to the left. At the 154 I'm turning in, aiming for the 155. Again, notice this light Hatzenbach, late rhythm, late turn in, late apex. Late apex, no apex. Left side. End of the left curb, turn in. I am not going to hit the apex here. I'm running it through the middle to the outside. Valve to Earl here, he says there is no first apex, and in the wet I totally advise this. All the way out to the right, all the way back to the left, here is the apex at the rumble strip. Just missing that apex again on the right at Brunchen 1. Brunchen 2, very slippery, big danger point, especially if you're a novice and you're influenced by people waving at you. Nice and gentle. Get the car nice and straight. When it's straight, then you can accelerate. Braking early. Eiskurve. Left side. Straight line between the two curbs. See what I mean about mixing signals? Oh no, my camera's come off. What a nightmare. What a shame. Okay, I can still fix this. So now we're going full left at the end of the curb. I'm just going to leave it in 4 for reasons. Braking nice and early. Let the car turn in late, no apex. Again, the apex here is too polished, it's too smooth. Normally I would knock it down to 3rd, but I'm going to use the Swift Turbo Torque. No apex there either. Now, good trick. Down to 3rd for this one. Late turn in, land in the bottom, and when you come out of the Mini Carousel, let the car drift over to the right hand side. Use all the width of the track. Turn in, but no apex. Let the car come over to the left hand side again. At the chemical toilet, you full left of the 186. In the full wet, no need to go hunting that apex on the right because it's slippery as sin anyway.